In Phantom Forces, sometimes your weapon is only as good as the attachments you put on it, and using the right attachments almost always results in much better performance. Today, I'll be going over 3 setups that I believe make all of the good weapons even better. All of these setups are just my personal preference, and while I believe them all to be very good, you should always feel free to customize your attachments however you want. The weapons I'll be going over are the AA-12, C7A2, and M107, starting with the AA-12. Out of the 3 weapons I'm going over today, this one is definitely the most toxic and will get you flamed in chat no matter how many kills you actually end up getting with it. You could kill one person with it and they will flame you, and they will flame all AA-12 users for the rest of the game. With that being said, it is a very good weapon that's super easy to use, which is kinda why everybody hates it. For optics, I use the AMT Terminator, which isn't really an actual optic but rather a giant laser on top of your gun. It's obviously not what you'd want on most weapons, but for an automatic shotgun like the AA-12, it is extremely good. The zoom is obviously good for accuracy, but not having to look through a sight also means you have a much better peripheral view and can switch targets quicker and more accurately. This is the sight that I see a lot of other YouTubers using, and I would pretty confidently say that this is the best sight you can have on the AA-12. For the barrel attachment, I use the long barrel, which, well, increases your range. With the AA-12 being a shotgun, it's really good to have more range, even if it means slightly worse close range performance and slightly slower movement. I haven't tried any other barrel attachments, but I am 99% sure that the long barrel is at least one of the best barrel mods to have on the AA-12. There's really no reason to have a suppressor on the AA-12, and the recoil on this gun is honestly really good, so the other attachments are mostly pointless compared to the long barrel. The underbarrel attachment may be where more variety comes into play, but personally I use the skeleton grip. The skeleton grip is really just a great attachment on any weapon, giving better movement and ADS speed. It's a very useful attachment on the AA-12, as you'll often find yourself running around the map shooting at whoever you see, and the increased movement and ADS speed really comes in handy in those situations. Again, this one is more just my personal preference, but it's definitely a solid choice for your underbarrel mod. In the other section, I use the blue laser. There's not really much to say about this section, as there aren't any significant attachments you can add that are really going to boost your gameplay. An extra laser in conjunction with the AMT Terminator is kind of useful and definitely looks cool, but the attachment you choose in this category is really just not super important, and it's totally up to you. Lastly, the ammo section. There's really only one choice for the AA-12 in this section, and it is the 20-round drum. This attachment makes the AA-12 infinitely better and is the reason why it is such a good weapon and why it is so annoying to fight against. You get 12 more shots with this attachment, 12 more shots. It's totally busted. You go from 8 shots to 20 shots, which is that's gonna be the difference between a single kill and a quad feed. So this attachment is definitely the most important one to have, and if you ever start using the AA-12, you are going to need this thing. There hasn't been much C7A2 content on my channel as of now, but trust me when I say it is an extremely good weapon, and I would say it's one of the best assault rifles in the whole game. There's really nothing bad that you can say about this gun. It has good damage, it has a good fire rate, good recoil, and it is just stupid accurate from 90% of the ranges that you will be shooting at. The C7A2 being an assault rifle and not an automatic shotgun, optics are totally up to your preference. Right now I use the OKP7, a really good optic for any range that you'd be using this gun at, but you know, it's also customizable after 200 kills, which is a plus, I guess. I previously used the standard ACOG scope, which is also really good, especially for longer ranges. With the ACOG's greater zoom, you will be seeing more recoil, but this gun is just so good that it's still really easy to control and your shots will still be stupid accurate. Keep in mind that these sights are just my personal preference, and you can use whatever you're most comfortable with. For my barrel attachment, I use the long barrel, and for the exact same reason as the AA-12. You'll be doing more damage and be shooting more accurately from farther ranges, and the detriments that come with the long barrel are really just not super noticeable and would not make the gun any worse. Personally, I think the biggest detriment of the long barrel is that it's ugly. I almost didn't use it because I thought it was ugly, but it's just too good to not use. I use the stubby grip for my underbarrel attachment, which makes overall recoil smoother and reduces bullet spread. These two improvements, along with the C7A2's already stupid accuracy, makes the gun a laser beam, and I would say that the stubby grip is pretty easily the best underbarrel attachment for the C7A2, even over the skeleton grip. Now, if you were thinking that this gun could not be any more accurate, then you would be wrong, because the full stock makes recoil even better, along with improving kick damper and kick speed. I'm not exactly sure what those last two things mean, but they sound cool, so that's gotta count for something, right? In terms of ammo, I'm pretty sure that the default or the 45 conversion are the two best choices, but I have yet to use anything but the default ammo. I have seen people use the 45 conversion and it does seem pretty good, basically just turning the C7A2 into a busted PDW at the cost of range and accuracy. Last but certainly not least, the M107. I would say that this is currently the best sniper in the game, torso killing from all ranges, being semi-automatic and having really good penetration. I'm pretty sure it's been nerfed multiple times, but that hasn't stopped it from being an absolute beast of a weapon. Starting with optics, I just use the default scope as I usually do when using snipers. Again, optics are totally up to your preference, and if you want to use the iron sights or the AMT Terminator with this gun, then by all means. My barrel attachment for the M107 is the muzzle brake, which reduces vertical recoil at the cost of increasing horizontal recoil. With the vertical recoil in this gun being pretty insane, the muzzle brake really helps at giving you control of wherever you're aiming at quicker after firing. The fire rate on this weapon is only 50, but it becomes even slower when you have to wait to aim again because of the huge recoil on this gun. My underbarrel attachment is a skeleton grip yet again, but on the M107 it is super important. Scoping in with this gun takes ages without the skeleton grip and will often result in your death because of how slow it is. The skeleton grip makes a massive difference in this gun's scope in time, greatly improving its overall performance as a sniper. I really don't think there's any better option than the skeleton grip. Moving on, I use the canted iron sight, which I really like, but this section is much less important than others and you should really just use whatever you like the most. The canted iron sight makes close range interactions much easier to deal with, as having to scope in when somebody's a couple feet away from you is almost always going to result in your death. In the ammo section, I just use the default, but I believe that the 416 Barrett is also a solid option. I'm not huge on changing ammo types, but I think that either one works. Maybe the 416 Barrett is actually like 1,000 times better than the default one, but I'm sure it'll be popping off with either one. And that about wraps up my weapon setups. I know that this is unlike my usual content, but I did have a lot of fun making this video and may even make similar videos in the future, so please let me know if you enjoyed. Keep in mind that all of these setups are just what I prefer, and even though I think that you should definitely use a lot of these attachments because they're very good, it is always up to you and whatever you think is best. Thank you for watching.